Saturday in the NBA is here, and so are my best bets. We got 11 games on the slate on October 30th, and we're going to get after today. Here is what we're going to cover. We're going to cover a recap from yesterday, my best bet, some spreads and over-unders, some player props, and I will call my shot. But first, let's start with the recap. Yesterday, we went 4-3, plus 0.48 units, our third straight winning day. We definitely want to get a sweep one of these days, but Jonas Valanciunas, our best bet, falls short. He fouls out. He only needed one more rebound. What can you do about that? Cole Anthony cashes, Kings -2. You can see all of them. OG Anunoby, I'll talk about him for a second because I saw a lot of people in the Discord. Yeah, we had over 19.5 points. Of course, he falls a couple points short. Didn't do much in the first half, but he shot 19 times. And if you're going to get a player that's going to shoot 19 times and all you need is 19 points, I can live with that result. But let's get into it. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Click that like button too. And also shout out to BUG Mega. He gave us a winner in the comments yesterday. I put it up on the screen. He gave over 29.5 for Miles Bridges PRAs. Miles Bridges has been a cash fiend. He's been going crazy this season, trying to earn that contract extension this offseason. He also gave you Chris Duarte over in rebounds as well. So let me know your favorite bet down below. And maybe you'll be shouted out in tomorrow's video. Also, subscribe and like. Come on, guys. We want to hit 12,000 subscribers. We can't do it without your guys' support. We're taking calling a shot to the moon. Also, our calling my shot per first pick, De'Aaron Fox, 30+ points. He falls short. But what can you do about that? Let's get into it. My best bet of the day, Mo Bamba, over 9.5 rebounds, -108 on FanDuel. Bamba has been a revelation this year, and as an Orlando native, I often not find myself watching the Magic too often. I don't hate my life that much, but he was pretty unproductive his first 3 years in the NBA. But this season, he's really turned things around. And why is that? Because he's finally getting some playing time, which is what really has held him back so far 3 years through his career, now into his 4th season. He's playing 32 minutes per game, averaging over 10 rebounds per game, and he's coming off a big game versus Toronto when he got 18 rebounds. Now today he gets a matchup against the Pistons, which is lovely because the Pistons allow the second most rebounds to opposing centers. Beef stew, I'm sorry, Isaiah Stewart, I'm sorry, man. He's letting those guys eat out there. He's letting them eat some beef stew. Now you look at it, they've allowed 18 rebounds to Embiid, 12 and 8 to Gorgie Dang and Capella, and then 19 and 15 to Vucevic, as they played Vucevic twice. Now, Bamba, he's hit this line in 4 of 6 matchups this season. The 2 he did not hit the over were games that he didn't play a lot of minutes, and he played against good rebounding teams like the Heat and the Spurs, and he didn't see 30 minutes. Now, in his career, when he sees 30+ minutes, he's hit this over every single time. 6 for 6 on the year. Also in his 2 matchups versus Detroit in his career, when he's seen at least 20 minutes, he's had 15 and 12 rebounds. I love it. We're locking in Bamba. Best bet of the day. I'm in. Now moving on to some spreads and over-unders. Taking the Thunder team total under 103.5 points, -110 on BetMGM. Now, everyone has stole my saying this year. I feel like I created it. You can't spell Thunder without under, and we're going to take it here. The reason we're taking it is because they're on the road, and the Thunder and their young players, they struggle on the road mightily. Now, this line as a whole, 4-1 on the season for the Thunder, and only time it cashed, well, the over cashed was against the Lakers, and Russell Westbrook pushing the pace up and down the floor. Now, today, they take on the Warriors, who, I won't lie to you, the Warriors, they've been a little bit up and down this year, but they are a very good team, and they have one of the better defenses in the NBA. They played, obviously, earlier this season. The Thunder only scored 98 points, 34 of those coming in the first quarter. When they really jumped up on the Warriors, Warriors said, oh no, we can't allow that, and came back and won that game. They shot 35% from 3 in that game, the second best of the season. But today they are on the road where they have been terrible. They've scored 91 and 86 points. The 91 was against Houston, who ranks 18th in defensive rating, 86 versus Utah, who ranks 2nd. Their opponent today, the Warriors, yeah, they rank 7th in defensive rating. They've held OKC under 103.5 points in their last 3 matchups versus at Golden State. I'll take the under here with confidence. Let's move on to a spread pick. Timberwolves, -3 versus the Nuggets. From looking at this spread, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You got a Nuggets team that just beat the brakes off the Mavs. And the biggest thing, they've beaten the Timberwolves 11 straight times. Yes, 11 straight times they've beaten this Minnesota Timberwolves team, but all streaks must come to an end. If you look at earlier this season, the Knicks, they lost to the Sixers, I believe, 15 times. Well, they won that, so maybe we'll see some of the same tonight with the Timberwolves. You also look at it, you'd see Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, they're coming off a big win versus the Bucks, and I think they're going to continue to get it going. This is a young team that's very hungry. It's early in the season. You normally see these teams normally start to fall off as the season goes on just because they aren't used to being as successful as the other teams like the Nuggets, who have been here before. They've won games time and time again in the regular season. Also, would it surprise me if Nikola Jokic is announced out? No, it wouldn't, because he got banged up a couple nights ago, and this is the second half of back-to-back. Since 2019, the Nuggets are just 10-15 against the spread in back-to-back games, the third worst in the NBA. This is a young Timberwolves team at home, and I think they get it done. And Ant-Man, I trust, so I'm taking the Timberwolves -3 at home, taking on the Nuggets. Moving on to an over-under. We've talked about this game too much already in the video. Promise we won't talk about them ever again. Magic Pistons. I'm taking the over. 206 points, -110 on FanDuel. No one likes picking an over in a Magic Pistons game, but I will do it. Now, the Magic currently boast the worst defensive rating in the NBA, and the Pistons, they aren't necessarily much better. They're right around middle of the pack. Now, the Pistons, luckily for them, they might be getting Cade Cunningham, the first overall pick in the NBA draft, back tonight. And the Magic are on a back-to-back, which is the real reason we are here. Since 2020, on back-to-backs, they've cashed the over in 11 of 15 games, 73% of the time, which is the best in the NBA. The Pistons offense started slow, played a good defensive team in the Bulls, but since then they've scored 100 points in back-to-back games, taking on good defensive teams like the Sixers and the Hawks. Well, sorry, the Magic are not a good defensive team like that. They're on the road as well. I'll take the over. And if it's a brick fest, maybe it helps our Bamba best bet of the day, so we'll take it. The Magic have played faster than they normally do in the past couple of years. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, both pushing the pace. I'll take the over. Now let's move on to some player props, and we're starting with Scotty Barnes, over 22.5 points plus rebounds, -118 on FanDuel. If you want to take his PRA line, don't mind that as well. He's just not getting a ton of assists. He had one anomaly game, which is actually the team that he's playing today, the Pacers. But let's talk about it. Scotty, he's been probably one of the best rookies in the NBA so far this season. He's been killing it, averaging 17.7 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, which is 26 points plus rebounds. So we're getting some value on it. He's cashed in 2 straight games and 4 of 6. There's 2 misses, his rookie debut, and a game against the Bulls, a very good defensive team, and he only shot 8 times in that game. The rest of the games, he shot 12 to 17 times, and I love that, considering all of them are quality looks. He's normally not shooting 3-pointers. At Dominic, if you're watching the video, who always says pick his under in 3-pointers. That did not cash last night, but today he gets a Pacers team. He had 18 and 7 on a couple days ago. They'll need Scotty to help them out on the boards, as they got to box out Sabonis, who did not play well last time these two teams matched up. So I love Scotty. I love him here, and I think he gets it. I think he can cash it for us, over 22.5 points plus rebounds. Moving on to another one, same kind of bet. Rudy Gobert, over 27.5 points plus rebounds, -110 on BetMGM. Now Gobert, he's been dominating so far this season. Here are his points plus rebounds game log. He's at 30, 39, 37, and 37. And he's had pretty solid matchups now, and he's been making the most of it. Well, today he takes on the Bulls, and I'm not necessarily scared of him, as they start Nikola Vucevic at center. In his last 8 games versus Vucevic, he's averaging 13.6 points per game, 16 rebounds per game, and he's hit the over in 5 of 8 games, finishing on the hook on a couple times. Now, Gobert should be in line for a ton of minutes today, as he has to anchor that defense down. This could be a relatively low-scoring game. Both these teams are very good defensively. Mike Conley will not be out there. Maybe Gobert gets another shot or two. Maybe Joe Ingles is looking for him cutting. Either way, I think it, and I like it. I'm taking Rudy Gobert over 27.5 points plus rebounds. Now, moving on to the other side of the coin, Nikola Vucevic, taking his under 20.5 points, -105, BetMGM. Now, I'm not one to usually take 2 props in the same game. I don't like doing that because you never really know what's going to go on. But Vucevic, he's not been playing too well, and it's not really his fault. He's not getting a lot of shot opportunities. He only hit this over in 1 of 5 games this season, and it was last game against the New York Knicks when he shot super well. Now, the reason I will take this here is because, like I said, he's not shooting it a lot. He's had 16 or less attempts in each of the past 4 games, and most of his attempts are not 3-pointers. He's not a guy that's going to fire up 33-pointers. No, that's not him. He's not going to shoot him at a high clip, and he's not going to hit this number. In his last 10 career matchups versus Gobert, yeah, he's only averaged 16.9 points per game, gone on over in just 2 of 10. So with the under is cashed in 8 of his past 10. And these 2 teams played last year, and Vucevic had 16 points in that game. The Jazz on its 4th highest defensive rating. And normally centers, the only centers that can really abuse Gobert are people that can dribble the ball like Christian Wood or Nikola Jokic. That's not going to be Vucevic, so he's going to be doing a lot of pick and popping, and I don't think he gets it done here. He's just not shooting it enough. Sharper books have this under at -150. I like the value we're getting here at BetMGM, so I'll take it. Now moving on to a sketchy one, and you'll understand. Giannis Antetokounmpo, under 53.5 PRAs, -120 at FanDuel. Now, I love saying we're getting Greek freaky tonight, but this line is too dang high. I don't care who you are. I'm taking the under. Unless it's a playoff game, I'll take the under. And it's a sketchy one, but hear me out. And then we'll get into calling my shot. We got a spicy pick today. Now, this season, Giannis PRA lines, he's at 63, 49, 37, 27, and 53. So obviously he cashed it last game. He scored 40 points. So of course he's going to cash this over if he scores 40 points. But today he gets to take on a very good Spurs team. Well, very good is in quotation marks. They're a decent Spurs team. And even if Giannis has a great game, 54 PRAs is tough to hit. That 37 PRAs I said earlier, that was against the Spurs. And now, sure, he's hit this versus Minnesota, but they aren't a great defensive team. I'm not saying the Spurs are the best defensive team in the NBA, but the Spurs have been one of those teams that try to stop him and say, you know what, someone else beat us. Go out there and beat us, Chris Middleton, but we're not going to let Giannis do it. In his last 9 matchups for San Antonio, he's gone under in 8 of them. I get it. He's going to see a higher usage rate without Jrue Holiday out there. And if he wants to drop 40 on my head, so be it. So tread lightly on this one. But I think Giannis under 53.5 PRAs, that's a high number. Even if you're going out there, he could have 30, 15, and 6, and that's still going under. That would be a great game for him statistically, but still would go under. So I'll take it, under 53.5 PRAs. Now, time for calling my shot. DeAndre Ayton, 14 plus rebounds, plus 220. Now, Ayton coming off a massive game versus the Kings, 21 rebounds, and he's quietly done this over in 2 of 4 games this season. Currently, his rebound prop sitting at around 11.5. Plus value. Today, he gets a great matchup against the Cavaliers team that has been letting centers go wild on him so far this season. They're giving up 21 rebounds per game to opposing centers. That's second or third in the NBA most. That includes a high 19 to Nikola Jokic, 14 to Capella, 14 to Plumlee, 14 to Steven Adams. And that's just 6 games into the season. The only 2 teams that haven't had a guy hit this over against them are the Lakers and the Clippers. And both those teams don't necessarily have centers that necessarily go out there and get a ton of rebounds. Ayton is the anchor for the Suns' defensive rebounding so far. So give me Ayton to have a monster game. I mean, asking for 14 rebounds, plus 220. Don't put a full unit on it. Put like, I don't know, 1/4 of a unit or 1/3 of a unit, something along those lines. Don't go too crazy. But that is it. That is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to wrap it up with. Best bets parlays for week 8 in the NFL. We'll be live later tonight, so check that out. World Series Game 4. Best bets coming your way. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.